question is for the Premier. Premier, we now know you've wasted $650 million on buying Liberal seats in the GTA. And to get that money, you forced a number of your ministers to sacrifice priorities in their ridings.
I had to kind of process that a little bit, but the accusation is not acceptable. If you would withdraw that, I'd appreciate it.
Withdrawn. Take the government House Leader, for example. Day after day, he stands in this House defending your Liberal seat saver program, even though he had to shelve the Highway 7 expansion just a month after you cancelled the Oakville power plant. Premier, you've already thrown the Energy Minister and now the member of the Kitchener Centre under the bus, and you won't even apologize to Ontarians. So I have to ask, as the Premier of this province, will you do the honourable thing and apologize to your fellow members and Ontarians for deliberately misusing $650 million of taxpayers' money on your Liberal seat saver program?
Premier. Speaker, the Minister of Finance.
You know, Mr. Speaker, maybe that member and his party ought to explain why they voted against record investments in new hospitals in the last budget, Mr. Speaker. Maybe the members from Cambridge and other ridings ought to say why they oppose improving hospitals, improving education. Maybe they ought to explain to parents across Ontario why they want to close schools, why, Mr. Speaker, they want 55,000 jobs lost in the broader public sector. Maybe they ought to explain why they want to stop full-day learning, something that we on this side believe in strongly. No, Mr. Speaker, our plan is the right plan. It was laid out in a budget that member and his party refused to vote on, Mr. Speaker. Not only that, they removed sections of the budget, Mr. Speaker, that were taken right out of their own platform. They are so mired in mud and waste, Mr. Speaker, they're up to here. They can't think straight. They won't represent us.
Seated, please. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Supplementary.
In light of the Premier not answering my question, I'll actually direct it right over to the government House Leader because, frankly, Ontarians don't buy what we just heard there. So, Minister, your government doesn't even have Highway 7 on the 10-year infrastructure plan, so we know that your latest promise on this project was nothing more than a Liberal vote-buying scheme in the recent Kitchener-Waterloo by-election. Thank heaven there wasn't a power plant in KW, or I'm sure we'd be out another $650 million.
Stop the clock for a second. I'm hearing that again, so you have to be very careful of how you choose your words. You did not choose wisely again. I would ask you to withdraw.
Withdrawn. Sorry, seat saver program. Again, I'm happy to know that we didn't have a power plant in KW, or we would likely be out another $650 million. Minister, I don't know how you can stand there day after day defending the Premier's selfish decision to hang you and your colleague out to dry just so he can avoid taking the fall for the Liberal Party's seat saver program. I hope you know with that money you wasted on cancelling gas plants, you could have paid for Highway 7 2 times. Minister, how does it feel to sit in Cabinet, abandoning the needs of your riding and the region of Waterloo just to save Liberal seats in the GTA?
Scandal-plagued government.
For Finance.
Mr. Speaker, in our budget, the 2012 budget, which that member voted against, in Simcoe North, the member for Simcoe North voted against $474 million for the Wayport Centre for Mental Health Care. Mr. Speaker, the member for Barrie voted against $258 million for the Royal Victoria Hospital, Mr. Speaker. In Cambridge, the local member for Cambridge voted against the Cambridge Hospital redevelopment, Mr. Speaker. They call names, they yell names across the floor, they're over their head in mud, they're over their head in petty, cheap political rhetoric. They ought to stand up for their constituents. They ought to lay out a plan like we've done. We're going to fight for that plan, and we're going to fight for jobs in their ridings, for better health care, and better education, while they drown in their own...
seated, please. The member from Windsor West on a point of order.